They could play Cuckoo on Tiny, but that doesn't seem like a Cuckoo hero, does it? I mean, I know he plays a lot of stuff, but Tiny doesn't seem like something that it might do. It's not green enough.
I was going to ask, is this Nyx Assassin one of those heroes that's being picked to dissuade something that you think could have worked well with Fnatic, or is it an attempt to be a direct counter?
Kind of weird to me, just in this. I feel like Nyx this patch is better as a response to something you see. They already have an answer to Enigma. Because obviously Nyx is nice, you can spike Carapace and walk into Enigma spells and it'll just cancel it. But like, usually he's played with the intent of like playing a pick-off game. Like you want to find someone. So we've seen Nyx be played against, you know, Medusa with the Mana Burn. We've seen him be played against Nature's Prophet, so he can like scout the side lanes and hunt for him. That's like the purpose of a Nyx. There isn't really a purpose I see for him, which hasn't already been covered by previous picks. Like we've seen him get picked with like Darkseers. He's like that's like a really nice combo that teams like Tundra have abused. But again, like, does Cuckoo play that? I haven't seen it. I don't. They also obviously didn't see heroes to set up for that. I don't know.
Enchantress.
They didn't. I mean, they could pick the Darkseer here.
I mean, I would love to see a Darkseer here now that Terrorblade's in the match.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if Cuckoo's like on it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Nyx. It didn't have like a huge purpose to pick it there, other than T1 think the hero is strong right now, or it fits their idea of how they want to play the game. Maybe they played a couple scrims and they were just popping off this Nyx, getting kills on the map. And this is a hero that Gabby performed really well on against Polaris. This Faceless Void. It'll be interesting to see if he can have the same standout performance against a higher quality team as Fnatic.
It's also a lineup that has 0 damage for Chrono.
This was a TI 9.
Yeah.
Or was it TI 8 combo? The tree volley in the Chronosphere.
Oh damn.
It's OP. People are actually first doing this combo, but that was like 4 years ago. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe it's time for a comeback. T1 just like dip into the archives.
Yeah, pulling out the old strats.
Yeah. Okay. So they're missing an offlane hero. There's not like a huge amount of offlaners with like massive burst damage. Unless they want to put this Tiny in the offlane and pick something like Lina.
I think this Tiny
or Zeus
for sure going mid.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiny offlane is just not a huge fan of it. I mean, it can work in some matchups, but this does not look like Tiny Nyx, so that sounds like a great offlane to me.
I mean, it sounds terrible, yeah. But I'm just trying to like figure out where their damage is coming from. Unless they really think like Faceless can stand on his own.
May play Wyvern offlane. I could see that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. He's that type of player. He'll play the weird stuff. He'll not play the sort of like kind of not good things like Tiny, but he'll go completely out of the box if he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be against like an offlane Zeus with the Nyx.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just curious about this last ban because Zeus is still there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be DP.
I would actually really like that. You're playing against Terrorblade, playing with a Faceless Void seems really, really good. And like against Ench, like I don't know, Zeus seems like a top tier pick.
And then what would you like for Fnatic?
I'm trying to figure out. Well, first we need to decide where the heroes are going. This Enigma could be offlane. This Tusk could be mid. Like they might either need like a mid hero right now or.
For Fnatic? Or
yeah,
for
Fnatic.
Oh, I think they need a mid. Yeah.
Okay.
Kunkka vs Tiny, one of the more boring matchups in the game.
That is not how I thought you were gonna describe
it. It's just like they both have high damage. They both have, you know, Tidebringer versus Tree Grab. You can't really deny each other. They both just farm.
Yeah.
It's very, very boring.
Okay.
It's also super nice here though, the rum buff against the Faceless Void. Like when you're already kind of lacking damage for your Chrono, having the boat that's going to reduce the damage on top of that, and then like a Wraith Pact from Enigma too. Ooh.
Well, there she is. She went all the way through untouched, and she gets picked up last minute by Cuckoo. Both of these drafts completed now, and it's time to introduce our casters. It's going to be GoDz and Lyrical joining us. Hello to both of you.
Hi.
Oh, they said it at the same time. That was really cute. But Lyrical, you get first dibs on this draft. You can give any information you would like about it.
Well, I kind of was on the same page as y'all with the Darks here, and then they picked that Ench, and I was like, oh my god, Enchant destroys you. It'd be terrible. Not a huge fan of the Dawnbreaker pick last. I was liking what y'all were talking about like, a Wyvern being played in the core. That would have been hype. But I'm a little concerned for T1.
Yeah, it ended up being a little bit more basic than what we might have thought with some of these heroes, but Gods, how are you liking it?
I think I kind of second some of that. I think Nyx is a very weak laner, and I think T1's lanes could struggle here, which means Raven on TB could just free farm. And whether or not they have the damage to kill Raven later on, I'm kind of doubting inside that chronosphere. They don't have the best damage to dump into it. So, I feel like this is a game where Raven is really set up to just carry the game if he wants.
Well, now you got some insight from Lyrical and God, Sheep, Fear. Which team would you like? Do you think T1 have the laning phase they need?
I really like Fnatic's.
Yeah?
Liner.
T1's draft is missing way too much for me. I think Fnatic should have this one.
Okay. It feels like there is a lot going for Fnatic. We'll see if that's going to be the Caster Curse along with the Kyle Curse, but it is game 1 between T1 and Fnatic.
Thank you so much. Man, guys, I'm excited for this. Do you know why more than anything? Can I tell you? It's
Why is
just that normally in these DPC games, it's like, oh, this match, it might mean something in the future. It all comes down to this. We've actually got a match that means something in this format. It's great. You win, you go into the major. You lose, well, you got to play more tiebreakers, but at the very least, they're not going to the major. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. It's funny because we always emphasize and hype every match matters so much. It's like every match is a playoff match, but it's hard to really feel what actually is at stake until you get to this last week where every match still generally matters for so much. So, I don't think Fnatic want to play those tiebreakers. 3 teams in a tiebreaker for 1 slot. Even if you're, even for Fnatic, you maybe think you're better than those 2 teams. It doesn't feel good to be in a 1-in-3 shot.
Right, and anything can happen, right? It's I think for that format, it's the best of ones as well. Yeah, that's when it's really crazy. Nobody likes playing best of ones, but we all love watching them. So here's hoping something crazy happens.
Yeah. They're low-key my favorite part of TI. Everyone always complains every year, and I'm like, dude, BO1s are the best. I want more BO1s.
It's a sick problem that we have, but yeah, it's fine. Well, Cuckoo not scouted out. He's in the pit. DJ's gonna run right into him there, and Nyx is back behind. They're trying to set up to get potentially all of the bounty runes. If they're not careful, they're gonna zone out Cuckoo. But I think that's still gonna be 3. As nice little move by Zephyr.
Sneaky. Comes in with help of the ward and gets an extra rune. Small little wins at the start. But this top lane is the one I'm most concerned about for T1. Double melee with one of those. Dawnbreaker, very strong laner. But Nyx Assassin, not the best. And against Ench TB. TB, low-key, amazing laner, I would say. Metamorphosis with the recent buffs is just so good now. Even when it's down, you've got high damage, high base armor. I just don't see this TB getting pressured at all.
Right. It's going to be a huge issue for them, particularly if Januel can get off to a good start here on this Ench and get access to some of these camps, none of which are blocked right now either. So that's a little bit concerning there, as the early reflection is already going to start to deal out some damage there. Raven catches some stuns, and actually, because of these level 1 choices, not going to be able to put as much pressure back, but with a level, this is going to start becoming a lot more difficult.
Yeah, just busts out the level 1 heal, and he's like, okay, we're going to trade hits, then let's get heal. He'll get level 2 and be able to... The fact they didn't block the camps means, Enchant is going to be amazing, but you can always wait for that level 2 to pick it up. So, I think this top lane's going to go A-okay for them. Same thing with TB, level 2 with Metamorphosis. He's going to get way stronger, so very good lane for them. As far as these other lanes go, Fear kind of mentioned it. Tiny Kunkka, a bit of a snooze fest. You've got Tidebringer up against Tree Grab. It's kind of like a farm fest. There's definitely some outplay potential, but I don't really see too much likely to happen here until support and rune rotations kick in.
Right. That's going to be the thing to watch for if there are any of those big ones coming out at the 6-minute mark or what have you. And then down bottom, lane that we haven't talked about all that much at all is going to be DJ and Jabs. The dynamic duo have played together and looked really good in the past. And throughout this season, Jabs is just going to be continuing to deny out these range creeps whenever he gets an opportunity. And do you like what T1 have down here at the very least?
I I think it's fine, but it's not a lane you can... Like, Enigma lanes just seem to... You know, you can try and farm some Eidolons. Enigma's not going to free farm usually in many lanes, but the denies just slowly add up, so... It's going to be a situation where both Gabby's Void and I think Enigma just end up, you know, a little bit less farm than you'd like. That seems to be how Enigma lanes go, at least.
Well, it'll be something to watch for, and we'll see if they get anything done across here. And most certainly up on that top side, where already Raven off 14-2, and all three lanes going quite well. A rough one so far here. As they
hasn't even used Metamorphosis, it looks like. So,
yeah.
Very, very, I think, concerning. Like, how do you address Raven's TB this game is really the big question for me. Tiny getting a fast Blink Dagger, making lots of rotations, like, to me, the obvious answer. But they need to make sure they make those moves come, like, mid-game time.
Right. Yeah, need to make sure that they shut him down. I'm keeping an eye on mid, too, where, I mean, Armel is still putting a lot of pressure onto Carl continuously. He's getting him super low and keeps on having to run through these bottle charges, but we'll be fine. Pops the salve afterwards.
Bottom lane, they're getting jabs pretty low here. Gabby doesn't have the bash, though, but... Oh, nice Splitter Blast in. Whitemon snipes him just in range.
Really well done. So not where we would have anticipated it, but they make it work.
Yeah, I think that's where this T1 bottom lane is, like, solid. Is like, they have the kill threat, and Splinter Blast is very good at dealing with the Eidolon. So, you know, Enigma Tusk have to play very defensive. Tusk isn't, you know, you're not that happy as a Tusk laning with Enigma. I think Tusk was still a good pick, but DJ's role this game is going to be a bit more passive and maybe more mid-lane centric, grabbing some of those runes.
They have to pass off that salve right there because Cuckoo just lost his Januel when he's diving under tower. So Cuckoo coming back into this lane looking a little bit worse for the wear. And actually, Raven still has some of this left over. He's in trouble. He's potentially... Oh, Zephyr, good stun. That might be enough. Can Cuckoo get out of here? Does still have the hammer available. But he is... I mean, is he really going to try and stay in this lane? Dude, Cuckoo's crazy. I can't believe he's sticking around.
He's got a salve queued up on his courier, but he's going to wait for his courier to get back to base. I guess he's just going to throw some hammers, and now with Metamorph down, they go on Raven.
Oh my god, that third hit almost there, but not quite enough, and the heal comes out for Januel, so that'll keep him alive, and then Raven gets salved up as he heads back underneath that tower.
Yeah, nice dodge from Raven. He kind of backstepped to make the hammer really hard to land, and helps keep him alive and healthy, staying in this lane with the Enchantress Hills. It's like, well, he doesn't have to, you know, buy his own salves. He's got the heal. He's getting given salves even with the nerf. Like, this top lane continues to go really well for Raven.
Yeah, and an even better one right there. You could see that Januel got the chain lightning creep, so the Stormcrafter keeps on spamming it out against the Nyx Assassin. Zephyr taking a beating here, and yeah, going quite well up top.
Yeah, they did end up blocking the big camp, but Januel brings out a Sentry de-warded, so I think a lot of your hopes for T1 are going to be focused more around, you know, obviously the Tiny as mentioned, but even the Void. Like, he's having a decent lane. He's already got the gloves. He's going to be going for probably just a typical Maelstrom BKB build, but here's the first rotation. Armel hits 6. He's ganking
by a
bot.
ward. They see him.
Nice.
They're going to back away. Yeah, that level in X not going to be high enough to catch anybody. So Armel misses on that rotation, and well, Gabby lets him know how he feels about it. Maybe a little reveal that they had a ward.
Yep. And I like they're doing a cool little scan too. They're like, okay, let's see if when Armel has he come back mid, because right now you don't know where he is. He could be lingering bottom. He could be going back mid to, you know, this mid lane is not being farmed by Fnatic. It's just empty. So they're trying to figure out where Armel is right now, because until he shows on the map, Gabby has to play a little bit safe down bottom.
Yeah. Well, that ends up working out for him. Carl does not get lucky with a good rune, just picking up the invis for now. But at the very least, we'll have the bottle refill, and likewise, Armel made that rotation, picks up the bounty rune, and they're also going to get the other one up top from Januel here. So a failed rotation, and DJ instead is going to be the one that makes the move. Not sure if he was scouted out, but he's looking to just get a ward down and see if you can find anything else. Doesn't look like it.
I don't think this is a kill. Like, you'd need a third hero to get the Tiny. He's hit level 6. He's too tanky. He's got an Invis Rune Fairy Fire. There's no kill opportunity there without maybe like it. I don't even think Ench is not a good hero to TP in. Top lane, however, maybe this is the kill. Zephyr in trouble.
Yeah, there's no way he gets out of that one. So Raven pops meta again. find themselves the kill on the Nyx assassin, but Fnatic, I think story here is looking to get aggro early with a couple of TP rotations. They're finding, or at least looking for kills.
Yeah, the playmakers know it's their job just to run around, make these things happen.
Carl,
great kill.
Can he do it? Hammer, not quite there. Avalanche looking for the toss back underneath the tower. TP coming in afterwards. The snowball's there as well. Raven is super low, but will not go down. They can't quite get there. Man, Cuckoo just a little off with that hammer. Otherwise, I think that was a kill.
Yeah, you need to land that hammer near or under the tower. Raven gets given another salve from Januel. You know, Ice Frog, if you're watching, man, these salves maybe like reduced by another 50%. I don't know what's going on. But these carry players, being the greedy carry players they are, and particularly when you're playing a hard carry like a TB, it's just like, if you can stay in lane to keep farming, you know, it's so good for your game. But Rune Battle coming up. Gonna spawn bottom.
It's an Arcane, and Armel gets that one. Yeah, I mean, part of it is just like the nature of TB, right? This guy is 700 HP, so half salve duration is still like not bad. But regardless, they do make another move down bottom. This one, I don't know if that was scouted. It looks like it might have been. They were passing by a melee creep as Armel was moving. But Gabby tries to find his way out of here.
So close to him.
The biggest tree. The tumbler toy. Over the top. Nice.
Yeah. Dude, you can see DJ's just got like this, you know, his inner soul just tells him like, I gotta gank, I gotta gank. This is what this guy loves to do. Like he looked uneasy in the enemy jungle. That's why he TP'd top before. Now he's bottom. He's just looking to try and find action wherever he can.
Look at
him. Armo's on board.
He's so close to 6. He's trying to hang out over here. It's not quite there in time. Carl making the rotation with Whitemon over there as well. A good stun to interrupt. Snowball afterwards. They waited for it. Gets the save. They have it now onto 3 if they want to. As they come out, looking for it. Only gets it onto 1, but that one was not what they wanted exactly. Misses the stun. What is happening? Oh God, the nerfs. They're kicking in the black hole. The turn, but the Dawnbreaker ult to try and save. It will be enough. Gabby gets off the time walk. But now the snowball to the creep to try and get away. Armel X's Carl. And I think that they at the very least find DJ. Maybe they can get Armel too. Good stun from Zephyr as they bring him down. Whitemon with the slowdown. Carl is there. Just absolute madness down on the bottom lane as they finally finish DJ. And Cuckoo also does get the deny on the mid tower in the meantime, because all that was space for the Ench to take a tower with the troll creep.
I bet say I was like, how many? That fight went on forever. You know, which obviously fight went amazing for T1, but with how long it took, that's a lot of time that both Ench and TB were doing their thing. Ench taking a tower, TB free farming, also pressuring a top T1 tower, but very sloppy. There were a lot of misspells in that fight. Not the best chrono, not the best impale. Also Fnatic just kind of overextending and messing up the initial initiation. Cuckoo at top getting pushed back heavily here as they really want to defend this top tier 1.
And in fact, with the toss back, Cuckoo pops the stick charges. They have a target and Raven will go down. So they managed to punish as Fnatic also getting a little bit too aggro. You can feel this in this game. Very, very tense. Stun? Is it enough? Oh, Zephyr. Toss onto Januel. Boat. Spike Carapace is there, but the heal gets out and, well, Januel is just going to be able to force back Zephyr.
Not honestly the worst position for T1 to be in. They're still being out-farmed, particularly by the TB, but once this Tiny gets the blink, that's when it's go time. And even before then, they're making the rotations happen. Jabs is overextended bottom.
They find themselves another one. So very well played by T1, staying in this, wanting to play a very, counter-punchy game. Even when ultis are off cooldown, they're still fighting.
Yeah. Fnatic's playing this kind of like two-man gank squad with the Tusk Kunkka, while the other 3 heroes just farm and push lane. So they're like, okay, maybe we die somewhere on the map. Like, they're down 6 kills to 1, but up 2k gold, because Fnatic's playing a very greedy style. As active as, like, I think we've seen, like, what, Armel and DJ, like, all over the map. The other 3 players are very static with kind of how they're playing. Like, TB's hardly leaving the farm, Enchantress is only pressuring towers and farming as well. The other 3 just want to get their own.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And T1, part of the reason I guess that they can do this too is you've got this Dawnbreaker, this hero that's been so highly prioritized across the regions. You can play that like cross map style and it doesn't hurt you too much. Now there is a sentry ward down, so they see Zephyr in the area and they will back out. Good coverage right now from Fnatic to make sure that they're covering their bases on this.
Yeah. At some point in your Zephyr, you're probably realizing like, okay, they probably saw me. Yep, now he knows for sure. Sentry's gonna aggro the creeps, so he knows there's a sentry there. This is like the, Nyx doesn't see much action, so one of the things, you're always going to do against Nyx is, buy that extra little bit of sentry wards, also lay those traps with observers plus sentries next to each other so you can scout his rotations, and Fnatic showing, they remember what you do against a Nyx assassin.
That's right. Cover the bases, make sure it's good, but the other thing to keep in mind here is this is now going to be 3 tier 1 towers taken by Fnatic at 12 or 13 minutes. I mean, that's pretty rough. DJ doesn't decide to go on him.
2 of those was like just Ench. I mean, TB did a lot of damage shot, but Ench just solo pushed it to finish it off. Ench solo pushed essentially 2 towers just with enchant plus creeps. And Januel he's got treads queued up. He's looking to farm. He's getting 4-man ganked here. I don't blame him. This Ench is so annoying.
Yeah, they bring everybody for that one. Make sure that they get it. Still leave his creep though. That's fine. It's not a troll. It's not. Doesn't count as a super dangerous one. Well, 4K gold lead 7-1 in terms of the kill store, and that's really the story of this. Is T1 group together, play as a team, but they lose out on the farm because of it. And the question is, when they hit their timings on Fnatic, how scary is this going to be? Ooh, Raven.
Smoke up.
They see him.
Here. Yeah. Tiny's got a blink dagger and is smoked up. They'd love to kill this TB a couple of times.
They're looking at him. They see him. And
he's
his courier! You sent your courier under your tier 1 tower!
Yeah, that's...
Oh, Zephyr. Wait, you
Fnatic...
surely don't catch Raven here.
No,
okay.
Instead.
Wow. Zephyr has Spike Carapace. And won't matter. Cold Embrace is going to buy some time, but he's eventually going to die.
Yeah.
I
mentioned Fnatic remembering how to play against Nyx. Perhaps it's the Nyx Zephyr who's kind of forgetting some of the little things you have to do as a Nyx assassin. When you're behind enemy lines like that, you got to micro that courier. Not having the sharpest game. Top lane Black Hole. They've got the Dawnbreaker.
Is it enough though? Oh, looks like it. Stun. Does have the snowball afterwards, so Jabs heads up play there just to drop it down, knowing that his team is going to come for the help. Looking good.
Called Januel, but we saw last time they had 4 heroes, so I don't know if 2 is going to cut it. They've got a 3rd on the way.
Ooh, good stun.
He didn't finish his swing. How's that an attack?
Oh no! Oh, Carl, you're never going to finish that punch. He has another avalanche.
Dodge it.
And that'll be enough. Oh my god, that's depressing.
Yeah. I feel like Nyx Assassin finished his attack while he was still in his attack animation there. I don't know.
Yeah.
A little sus.
It's funky.
But it's kind of funny, the Black Hole. I feel like Jabs is just like, well, anyone else at Black Hole, Dawnbreaker's going to ulti on, so let's just Black Hole the Dawnbreaker. That's his solution, at least in the early game, it seems.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if that's what you need to do, then go for it. And I mean, we were kind of talking about this when the draft was going on, that so often you don't see Black Hole get used for a lot of things nowadays. It just tends to be sort of a tool to idle on and get this Wraith pack going, as we did see that kill onto Zephyr in the mid lane, which he does have now. So Wraith pack completely done along with that urn, and they've got a BKB done on Kunkka. This is a scary time for T1.
Yeah, they are definitely ready to fight. Gabby's just got the Treads Maelstrom, but whenever he's got Chrono, I don't think he minds joining the fight. He doesn't want to be like the first one in, but wants to also make sure he keeps on prioritizing getting that BKB up because of how essential that item is against playing against Kunkka.
Right. Well, and of course, as this game gets later and later, the ticking time bomb of Raven continues to become a concern as eyes on the Scotty after the Yasha Dragonlance completed. There are still going to be some interesting things later on. I imagine Cuckoo might go at some point for like an Aghanim Scepter if it gets late enough. And that can be really effective against the Terrorblade, but we'll have to wait and see if that actually gets to that point.
Yeah, like I was looking at this game, I think initially the ended off like, man, how do you kill a TB? You haven't got much time for Kona, but like the more I look at it, it's like it's not a hopeless game against a Mega Farm TB. You've got Wyvern, so the Curse can be really good this game. You've got the Cold Embrace. Tiny Tossback is pretty good against TB because I feel like TB as a carry is pretty positioning based, so being able to toss him in when he's Metamorphosis can cause some problems, but all that thought is Fnatic are coming on up here.
Gotta be careful. Avalanche, Dawnbreaker ulti right on top. Can they kill him in time? They gotta watch out for that black hole. The snowball and the turnaround. It's a big one, but the chrono comes out first. It connects on the whole team. Oh no, they're setting up for the black hole. He doesn't manage to get it off. Raven though, beating down Whitemon, finds one kill. Carl tries to toss away the TB, and well, Cuckoo is going to barely get the TP out. But that was not the way they were hoping for it to go on T1.
Yeah. Not quite, and they're going to get punished heavily. They committed a lot on the Enigma, and the issue was Enigma reacted fast enough to get the Wraith Pact down. That Wraith Pact just made everybody that much more survivable. It didn't really get addressed in the fight. And unfortunately for Gabby, everyone was so cluttered up, including his own team. He cornered 3 of his teammates there, even though he got some enemies as well. It just wasn't really the chrono that he was looking for, since there was no damage to go in, and he's just not able to really finish anyone off himself.
Well, and I mean, I think some of that is, like you talk about, the fact that they couldn't burst jabs. They're worried about that black hole. You know, their black hole. Contesting. Zephyr, he's there. Cold Embrace. Roche, not quite low enough yet. Armel, he saved that BKB that entire time. And still, can Fnatic finish this? They do not have that much left in the tank. Carl jumps in, Avalanche, but gonna get in trouble. Do they have anything to save him? It doesn't look like it. Zephyr, big stun, but there is no follow-up. In T1, they're not only gonna lose the Roche, they're gonna lose a couple of heroes here, might lose more afterwards. Have to jump away. Both Carl and Cuckoo going down.
Yeah, I think T1 just really feeling like, you know, they don't necessarily want to try and scale and go too late against the TP, so it's like, okay, we hit our tiny blink timing, we've got, like, you know, most of our spells. Chrono's still down, but they just really want to force that fight, knowing that TP had no meta and Roche was so low. But playing into a Fnatic team who just have all this vision and set up this wall around the Roche pit to kind of protect their TP in the pit just kind of was like an impossible effort for them.
And it's looking rougher and rougher. I mean, Gabby's still getting close to that BKB, but he's a little ways away. Whitemon Blink Dagger might make enough of a difference. He's been able to get some pretty good farm this game. Yeah,
both supports narrowing in on Blink Daggers. Void and Dawnbreaker narrowing on BKB. So perhaps for T1, you kind of look at that and you're like, well, maybe they should have just given up that Roche. They're very close to hitting like a pretty solid, you know, power spike, as we say, with some of these heroes. Just, you know, these are impactful items. Like, your Nyx is going from having Brown Boots 1 to having a Blink Dagger. Suddenly, he can be the one initiating and setting up some good fights with the Blink Stun. So very curious to see what T1 do when they complete some of these items. They are playing into Aegis, so it's kind of tricky. They're going to hit this item timing, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want to make these plays against an Aegis TB?
Right. It's a tough one. Well, it's at least for now setting up to be all of Fnatic grouped together down bottom. Zephyr is over here, and Cuckoo sending out Illusion, hoping to catch somebody going on him. This actually might work. Yeah, DJ, he goes for it. And no follow-up. But they already have a sentry down as well, so they will see if Zephyr comes anywhere close to this tower.
Yep.
That's actually really
wants
scary.
To poke too far forward. Oh, he's very close to the edge of it.
They find him.
Gets dusted.
He did get the hit off, but ends up afterwards getting the snowball.
Be okay here.
Oh, that's not the way they want that to go. Wait a minute. Got him. Well, this is going to be Nyx dropping, but they get a return kill onto the Tusk. I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah. You can see the rest of, that's just 2 supports. Like the rest of the team, I thought the rest of the team were maybe going to come and try and make a counterplay with their ultis there, but they were actually just deciding to farm elsewhere on the map. Void was farming the jungle, Tiny was pressuring the top tier 2. So the fact 2 T1 supports managed to like get a 1-for-1 trade, they had no chance of defending that tier 2 tower, while the rest of team farm was honestly a pretty good sequence. I like how T1 are responding to this Aegis for now. They were very close to these BKBs, which is the key reason they don't pick a fight there. And now they've got them. So With TBA just only having 2 minutes, there's going to be a opportunity for T1 to kind of consider some playmaking here.
Right. It's still not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. You know, they've built up this 9,000 gold lead, and Cuckoo, they find him. Walrus punch to start, snowball afterwards. BKB runaway. That is the 9-second. Tries to TP out, but it dropped a black hole. Jabs, that was mean. Oh, jeez.
He's just like, I'm done with this Dawnbreaker. You think Dawnbreaker counts as Enigma? Let me show you. Let me show you what I will do to you. Jabs with the full team build, but more than happy to solo black all the Dawnbreaker. He's gone for the full Vessel even against the Wyvern heal, and I mean, theoretically good against the Solar Guardian as well. So he's basically saying, I'll show you how much these heals counter my black hole.
I mean, it's true, right? Like the combo of having, you know, that and the Scotty completed at this early timing, 22 minutes. All this heal strat, the ability to try and turn a fight around, it's going to be rough. And right now, I'm struggling to see when the moment is that, I mean, I guess it's going to have to be around that second Roche fight and try not to lose too many towers in between now and then. But Fnatic are just getting everything they want this game.
Yep. Yeah, it just feels hard for T1 to make these moves. Like, they're playing with 4 melee heroes into an Enigma. Like, they've got ways to play into the black hole. It hasn't really been the black hole is the problem, but like for TB, like he's playing against a lot of melee heroes that find it hard to get on top of him. So it's been a very free game for a lot of the Fnatic side, and they're just going from objective to objective. They get the last tier 2 tower. I don't know if we'll see them go high ground here. They've got a minute left on this Aegis, so there is a window if they want to at least pressure it and force some TPs back.
Yeah, they do also have that meta available. Dawnbreaker back up in 5.
For now, just sending the summons. Edge creeps, TB illusions.
And look at this. Armel finishes a sheep stick at 23 minutes. Yo.
That's a big item.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, you see this enemy team going for like double, probably triple BKB, like as their early to mid game timing, and suddenly you've got a way to insta disable against them and prevent them getting these BKBs off. Probably chain stun them and blow them up. So really, I love this item pickup, and that's I think why Kunkka was so popular and common like a patch or two ago, was because there's so much versatility with the item builds. Like if you're playing against like an Ursa, you can go for like the halberds or whatever. Like there's just so many different items that make sense and work on Kunkka.
Yeah. And very few that you like definitively need to have. It's pretty much just that BKB, but that's literally everybody in the game right now, so that's fine. Man, okay. 24 minutes in, and what are we looking at in terms of Aegis 3 minutes before it's capable of respawning, and Fnatic? I mean, at this point, I think it's just waiting for that next set of items. I feel like T1 have to do something now. You know, you've got all these Blink Daggers, 3 Blink Daggers invested. They've got to find something on the map.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like the game's going to look any better for them anytime soon. The Tiny, if he wants to, I imagine he's disassembling his Echo Saber. He's got BKB now as well, so that's triple BKB. Like, you don't buy BKBs to farm. They instantly smoke. He gets his BKB, he smokes. They leave Cuckoo mid to cut. That's the nice thing about Dawnbreaker, and something T1 have to utilize is have Cuckoo farm, show, push out waves, and use his ulti to join the fight. But T1 need to find a connection here.
Yeah, and the scan, it hits. I mean, this is a lot of them. This would be really good if they could find these heroes. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's Genuel that's there. They get a vision down. Carl jumps for the back line. There's the toss over. Dawnbreaker ulti. Snowball, what are you doing?
Too.
Oh, no. This is not the way it's meant to go, but a good winner's curse on the BKB Enigma. That is exactly what they needed. Raven trying to buy himself a little bit of space. Carl, Avatos now onto Armel. The stun does connect onto the Nyx Assassin, but he gets the Vendetta walk away under vision still. They take him down. Winner's curse has already been used, but the cold embrace is there, and the chrono onto Armel. It's not enough damage. Avatos, that's the one they needed. Now Raven, though, ready to go. Pops the BKB, turns to fight, takes down Dawnbreaker. Everybody else will go for the TP out. And Gabby, I don't think he can afford to stay here anymore. He's going to have to run. Zephyr is there for a turn if they keep chasing. He has a Blink Impale, but they won't go for it. Better than it could have gone for T1.
Yeah, it was a very awkward. Like they honestly executed the start. Like smoked up, they scanned, they knew they were there, they put the ward before they jumped. They see Ange, they're like, no, we don't go in an Ange. They decide Tusk is a better target because he's the one with the blink snowball save. So if you go on someone else and Tusk is there, they're likely going to get snowball save. So I think it's the right call to go in the Tusk. They just don't quite execute the initiation well.
Oh, unfortunate.
Oh, no.
That was supposed to go better. It didn't, though. And a good execution from Fnatic. They managed to find the kill onto Gabby. Zephyr couldn't get there in time to salvage it. And yeah, Fnatic, they just keep making all the right moves. They're playing so clean right now.
Yeah. I think we're just seeing, to me, some of the liabilities of like Nyx Assassin, particularly this hero, just didn't give them enough lane presence. And now in the mid game, it's like, if they have the sentries there and if you're ready for a Nyx, it just feels like this hero can't reliably initiate and have an impact on some of these fights. And for T1, you know, regardless of what Nyx does in the mid to late game, they're playing from behind because of how good a lanes Fnatic had and how well they balanced out the greed with enough playmaking. Like DJ and Armel have just been active enough that the other three players have been able to get a lot. I say other three. Enchantress has honestly been getting a lot of space, like to solo push towers. She's gone treads Dragonlance, just being very pesky. And it's all up to T1. They've got to make something happen and something happen soon. They can't afford for this game just to linger on.
Well, and this would be their moment right now. Break smoke, walk forward, look for it. They got him. Abba, toss, big jump, dead. Can they find any more? Gabby pops the BKB till 20 seconds until Chrono. They have Winter's Curse available. And if they walk up this hill, although there's still great vision here, they got to be careful. Whitemon under fire, needs to get away, buy a little bit of extra time, but it won't happen. Can't get out of there. And now the Walrus Punch, they find themselves. Cuckoo, he goes down too. Clean.
DJ even giving him some pump fakes before he canceled his TP. Just so tricky. It's so hard when you're playing without vision to make these moves, and that's kind of the position T1's in, where it's like these Hail Mary smokes where you're just, you know, you have a rough fight, you kind of know where the enemy are, but the problem is when your smokes break, can you cleanly initiate in and see them? And it's nighttime. Enigma was in the trees. They get the Enigma, but they kind of have to expose their entire lineup to Fnatic at that point. And, you know, that's just where things really go poorly for them.
Right. Well, it's interesting, right? Because to me, that when the fight, even that last fight that sort of, or before this last one was, you know, a little bit messy at the start, it still like kind of looked okay for T1. And it was like, there was almost a chance that they could have killed Raven. But it's just like you said, finding that vision and making sure it's the right fight. It's like these moments where I feel like T1 have hope and it's almost there, and then it just like falls apart at the last second. But you know, with all the big team fight ultis, there's always a chance. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be tough.
To land them, they need this, like a curse on somebody next to the TB is like a necessity for me. Like you need TB just to kill one of his teammates. Ideally, like the Enigma, as we saw before, one of the core heroes. Like Enigma's going to have a BKB soon, so you know, BKB Black Hole. They've got Winter's Curse for it. They've got Chronosphere, but killing the Enigma just so you can not worry about saving one of those spells is going to be a blessing if T1 can do that. But they've got to get there first, because right now, Fnatic, they're making all the right moves. They're making plays. They're out farming their enemy. And they're about to make one more here.
Blink out. That was close. The smoke almost got him. They will kill Carl's courier. Also get the D ward. There is still a ward over here, which is kind of sneaky. But yeah. I don't know if they have any more Snokes on T1 left. They do have one, but yeah, they're waiting. They want to get that next item now.
And they're waiting for Roshan here. Zephyr's in the neighborhood, so I think he's scouted from the high ground. Enigma coming back, so they know this Rosh is going on. They smoke up. I think they were under dire vision there. There was a mid lane ward that at least saw T1 heroes in the neighborhood. So Januel's just going to run in, put his body on the line. Fine. He just pops the heal. He's a level 16 inch with Tread's Hurricane Pike. This dude is honestly doing more damage in these fights than like some of these cores.
God, and Raven's the only one that's in the pit, so they don't even present themselves as a target. Januel just walks away. They kill off Zephyr. Dude, oh man. Fnatic, talk about clean execution, and now they find Carl. Oh man. Has to pop that BKB and run away. Whitemon, he's got to hit a big curse here. Throws it, but TB just doubles back and doesn't walk into Armel. It is not enough from T1 as Fnatic take the second Aegis and now are ready to run down a lane.
Yeah, they're just making all the right moves. They're reading T1 really well. Like, they see that curse coming. Like, they know Nyx is in the neighborhood for the Roshan. Januel, he sees this smoke coming and just puts himself in a place to get 4-man jumped. He gets tossed in and still, even if he dies there, you could see his team were willing to let him die to secure Roshan. They were still in the pit while he got tossed into 4 enemy heroes in the mid-river. Like, there's a chance he dies there, but it literally doesn't matter, and that's his job there, just to scout them out. If he dies and they get to Rosh, you can always back out. So just honestly, super clean from Fnatic. They're doing all the right things, and they're going to be rewarded with an Aegis and a high ground push that probably secures them game 1.
This is impossible fight to try and go into, and with no curse, it's harder than impossible. They're going to walk up now to the top lane, and Fnatic continue to beat away. Do they have anything left in the tank?
You're looking for tossbacks at this point, or I don't know.
Stun.
No curse makes
Carl.
it hard.
Oh, there's a creep wave. They can't even get the toss back onto Raven. He just takes out the whole freaking stack of buildings. Melee rack's done, and Raven will back away, knows the potential danger, and plays around it.
Yep. He's even got the Ag Shard, the Demon Zeal now. Using that casually to get some movement speed.
Right. I mean, why not? Oh, and of course, the old DD spawn up top. Raven's ready to go.
Yeah, he gets given the bottle. Armel says, here you go, you can take that one. They smoke up. They're ready for another fight. TB's meta is still down, though, so not the ideal time to maybe get a fight to close the game, but I think that honestly just goes to show how confident and how far ahead Fnatic are that they're just going to smoke without a metamorph.
Demon Zeal, DD pop, turn now, looking for the punch. Where's the save? Well, oh, that is not the way it's supposed to go. Boat and the winner's curse at the same time. Ava toss, but the BKB out. DJ, he walks away. There is nothing for them here in the BKB. He kills off Zephyr. This Nyx assassin has not found a way for him to have a game so far, and Fnatic set their sights on the last tier 3 tower as another round of dead Gabby, and Fnatic just clean up.
Yeah, just very solid, clean game. I think they never felt pressure at any point. It's one of those games where you know you can look at the kill score up top and be like, oh yeah, T1 made some moves. They got some kills going. Carl's 4, 2, and 5 on the Tiny. You know, no one fed that much, but it's just like there wasn't any like purpose. They weren't getting objectives when T1 made these moves, and they were just getting so heavily out-farmed.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the big problem. And I think it's what you had said multiple times, what the panel talked about a little bit, like from the laning stage, it sort of became a problem that went unaddressed. And I mean, January, God, what a beautiful head of hair. Makes me pine for the old days. But regardless, a very impressive performance from Fnatic. Man, Parker, I mean, do you think you just like... I mean, it feels sort of like counterintuitive to just say, like, don't just draft the Nyx or, you know, change up the draft or something. But that feels like it kind of came down to.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some draft problems. I think also in a maybe general sense, we just haven't seen T1 look as sharp as they have in the past. Like this the TI-10, T1 form is not really been seen since maybe, like Tour 1, I think T1 looked really solid. And Tour 2, they were a bit shaky at the start. They improved. This tour, you know, I don't think at any point in this tour T1 has looked that scary. No, I think Carl has not been as dominant in the mid lane. I think Cuckoo is struggling to find heroes that work for him with his offlane pool. He's having a lot of games where he dies a lot. Gabby's been a bit shaky. Like, just all across the board for T1, they just don't look convincing or very dominant as they have in the past.
Well, need to find some form for themselves, and they need to do it quickly, because if they don't win this game, they're not going to the major. It's going to be Talon that take their spot from previous tournaments, and well, it all comes down to this. Obviously, with big implications for TI as well afterwards. So we'll have to see what happens, but for now, at least, we're going to go a quick break. When we get back, the panel is going to break down the action from that game. We'll see you then.